Hello again and welcome. This is Modern American Gangster, and we're back with a news and current events video. Now it is 6/11/2025, and there's a lot going on with these riots and social outrage and all this stuff, but we'll maybe try to get your opinion to differ from the norm by the end of this video. So, if you've not been paying attention, we are on Patreon now, and it's paid for content. And there is tons of stuff up there. I'm adding three, four, five videos a day. It takes a long time. I gotta download them from Rumble and isolate the audio, remove the audio, and add that too. So, if you're a fan of all my documentaries and videos, you can go on Patreon. You can buy them individually if you want. They're $3 a piece. I don't set the price. That's the cheapest price that you can make it. It's $3. But you can also download the audio and put that on your phone or on CD. Some of them are probably too long for CD, but you can download the audio versions and listen to them like a podcast. And a lot of people, if you're going on a road trip, you can download a couple of the audio tracks and listen to them as you're driving or exercising or cleaning your house or your yard or whatever it is you do. So it's very neat. I'm going to try to start adding tons more stuff. There is original content that you can only find on Patreon. I've added the volume 3 of Best of Modern American Gangster. So it's 10 through 13. It's on there. I've downloaded. I shot a video a couple days ago with a news and current events video on location. It's a different type of experience if you want to have more modern American gangster content. So today we're going to get into it again because it will be on Rumble. But the country is breaking down due to the same things we've been warning people about for the past 100+ years. You'll understand that here in a minute after we get going. So understanding how much we've been talking about World War II, connection to the Nazis and the National Zionists and the Jewish connection and all this stuff. It's very interesting how much everything connects to that. But if you go back further to World War One, it's almost like living in a parallel reality to today. Now, within my book, the Great Awakening timeline of historical events, right from this book, it will get into what happened, which would lead to World War One. And what you see is lots of assassinations, false flag events, and all these things pushing towards what these controller people need in order to push their conflicts. So 1901, Queen Victoria dies. 1901, President McKinley is assassinated. The King and Queen of Serbia are both assassinated in 1903. The 1906 earthquake happens in 1906, which might as well have been the testing of directed energy weapons and creating these types of events. Then the Great White Fleet sails in 1907, and that is a very interesting thing when you understand the types of technology that these naval ships were carrying. Then in 1908, the King and Queen of Portugal are both assassinated. And this is basically the controllers, anyone who's not on board gets killed because they're planning years and years in advance. So then the Titanic is sunk in 1909, and we all know about the Titanic and how the people who were trying to free us from the control of these Zionist banker people, and they were supposedly killed, if you believe anything coming out of the official narrative. Now, if you understand that the Titanic never did sink, the Britannic, the sister ship, is the ship that sunk in a false flag. So people should be asking, where did the actual Titanic ship go? Did they exit our realm through one of these exit points in the ice wall? More likely, that's what happened to these super billionaire trillionaire people, is they were just pushed out of our realm and then not let back in. So then former President Roosevelt survives assassination. The U.S. Marines were sent to Nicaragua in 1912 to collect a debt for these banker people, showing the world that the American military is a debt collection force for these controllers. Then in 1913, the income tax and Federal Reserve System are installed to fund their reset operations. Then Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife are assassinated, which would officially start World War I. So how does that connect to events today? Well, if you understand how these people prepare these wars years and years in advance, and they've planned 3 world wars, which it seems like the Revolutionary War was World War One. Okay. So if you think about the Prussians were involved, France was involved, England was involved, and many other, Denmark and Sweden, all these nations were a part of this World War One, which was the 1776 time period. Then you understand the French Revolution took place then. Then you understand Australia was founded soon after that. And it's like that, it's the realigning and reimagining of this old world slowly. Then the Civil War in 1865 was like the Second World War. But as these controllers do these operations, they understand that the general public people or the reset population has no idea what these historical events were truly about. You can just reset them up and play them over again. So now World War III is just going to be a replay of the World War One. Okay. And if they start doing this again, where we're going to have a civil war again, that's going to be a replaying of the past civil war, except it's going to be way more intense because of the amount of technology and the amount of firearms which are currently held by the American people. Now, some other things that are very interesting when you understand what's going on. So the First World War ends, and it was the worst conflict the world has ever seen. Millions and millions of people dead. I'm going to have to do an entire documentary video on World War One and the events surrounding this from 1850 to about 1820. No, excuse me, 1850 to 1920. This time period was a very large time for the controllers. So after World War One ends with the Treaty of Versailles, signed in Paris, there's another weird thing is that Paris is always the place where they sign these war-ending peace treaties, whether it's the Revolutionary War or World War One or whatever. And that most likely connects to the tower in Paris because that's some kind of a communication device putting out this sound frequency over the ice wall to let the people know that the war has stopped and they can begin traveling again to the inner realm or our realm. So then, after this treaty is ended and the war stops, they start pushing these things like the prohibition of alcohol. And the prohibition of alcohol was to stop people from drinking. Now, don't you think after a war, your family's dead, your wife's dead, your sons are dead, your house is blown, all this shit has been fucked up due to this war. The one thing you probably would need is a fucking drink. But they stopped alcohol. Now, the main reason they did this was because after World War One, the amount of technical innovation that took place would make people understand you need to unhook from this government apparatus and the corporatization or corporate entities supplying you with the things you need. Now, if you can grow an extra field of corn, convert that corn or potatoes or what anything you can ferment, you can turn into alcohol. And then you can run your farm equipment off of alcohol, generate your free power from alcohol and whatever. You can probably most likely, with a little innovation, convert steam powered items into running them off of alcohol. And that's what they had to stop because the people were smart enough that they could do this. Okay. This was in 1919. And you keep going over this timeline right after the war ended. And it's very coincidentally connected to what we see today in the world. So, the 1919, the Grand Canyon becomes a national park, which is also a big can of worms. They want government protection from this site, lock it down because of possibly some of the things they learned during World War One. When they come in and uh, claim territory, they get into their secret rooms and stuff and find out secret maps and understanding that the Grand Canyon was possibly Egypt. And everything has been reversed and switched, and no one would ever know because they reset the population and they reset the information connected to its reset. So then also in 1919, Red Scare. Vladimir Lenin starts a revolution that changes the Russian government to communist. Now here we got another fucking Vladimir fucking with Russia and all this stuff. It's like how many fucking people in Russia run governments named Vladimir? Another weird coincidence. And this goes into the Lincoln and Kennedy and all this stuff. It's just history repeating. Whether this is a program designed by the Matrix, whether these controllers are running this artificial intelligence, but it's like the same things always keep coming up over and over and over again. And that's how you know you're seeing the hand of the controllers. And they'll also use their symbology of the numerology and all this stuff to identify their hidden hand manipulating these events. So, 1919, there's a lot going on right in this war. And Albert Einstein hypothesizes the theory of relativity. Now, this is where science begins to take over against God. And they push all these theories onto the people, understanding that they're planting the seeds of science and theories because they know they're going to completely switch the narrative on the people. Now, that took place when the baby boom took place. They rewrote the history books, they pushed God out of the books and pushed science in. And this is how they knew that down the road, now we're in 2025, these boomers were the ones who completely are responsible for this dystopian fucking world we live in. with the minorities and the black and brown people going insane and the labeling the white Christian man as the enemy for every crime that's ever happened, every injustice that's ever occurred. It was due to the white Christian man, the Jewish people, not the black man, not the white man, not the white women, not anyone else other than the white Christian man. That's what these wars are about, is getting all these Jewish Zionist operatives into your government at the top, making everyone angry and fighting each other, and then white people go to war and exterminate each other. This is why you see Zionist Jewish people at the top every single time. Whether it's in Russia, whether it's in Germany, whether it's in America or France or Mexico now, ran by a Jewish lady, it's a big marker that if you do not identify, these people will start you to get into wars with other white people. And then you kill each other all off, and they come in and consolidate the wealth and control the brown people who are very easily manipulated from using technology, using radio frequency weapons, using the narrative of news and George Floyd and all this kind of stuff. It's very right there in front of you if people will acknowledge it. So then you start seeing these events in 1919. Several bombs were intercepted and bombings were stopped as anarchists try to start a communist revolution in America. Now, who do you think would have been responsible for that? The same Jewish people responsible for the communist, socialist, Democrat anarchy in America today. Jews at the top, Zionist occupied government, putting their operatives into power, whether that's women or other Jews or Freemasons or black women or black people, people who cash the checks and they do whatever they're told. So you start to see after World War One ends. Here another May Day riots, a series of riots and violent demonstrations held by socialists, communists, and anarchists throughout Democrat-ran cities. Okay? Then you see riots, race riots held in Democrat-ran cities. Then you see 8 bombs explode within 90 minutes in 7 cities. Bombs were said to be prominent politicians. This is what you see today, and this is the direct result of this when they are pushing their Jewish takeover of America. And this all connects with the Nazis or the National Zionists, where the Jewish upper banker people fund their politicians the same way George Soros and these people do in order to push chaos, which will push the white people into war to kill themselves. And after the brown people move in and completely outbreed everyone else. And it's a major plan because they know, just like in South Africa, when the whites are gone, everyone's going to be starved out within 10 years. So you're completely going to depopulate the planet by just removing the white people. Now, this is like we're proving this over and over and over again. South Africa is not about killing white farmers. It's about killing 20 million black African people so that when they're dead, you can move in and consolidate the resources because you know by 2045, you're going to reset the population. You're going to use all these cloning information by the PCR tests and nasal swabs, which was a DNA collection operation, in order to repopulate the planet. You continuously see race riots, race riots, race riots, race riots, race riots right after, because that's the next weapon they're going to use is racism and the injustice done to black people. When in reality, black people are in control of their own destiny and they're not going to do anything with it. So you can trigger them very easily, and they are using these radio frequency weapons. It's a weapon system. They can turn on, point them at people, and get people agitated, get them angry, get certain people to feel fear or whatever by tuning these radio frequency hours. Everyone's listening to the radio in 1919. There's a radio in every home, and that is a radio frequency weapons. You can't see signals coming out. You can only hear them. So it's the signals that you don't hear played into your brain that causes all these issues. Okay, telling you about the German front and whatever. If you live in the middle of some small rural town in Minnesota or something, why the fuck would you care what's going on in France and the Germans are taking the French and it's bullshit. It's to get people all upset. And now you're going over to Europe to fight some fucking war that you have nothing to do with for America, because it's what we do in America is fight injustice. It's complete Jewish psyop bullshit, and the people are still falling for it more than ever now. Okay, then you've got women's suffrage movement, giving women the right to vote. And how much has the country been fucked up since then? Women don't know anything. Yes, you can find some women that do, but on average, they don't know what the fuck is going on. All of civilization since then has been turned over to these black and brown people who just riot. They cause all these fucking problems, and everyone just doesn't understand how this is part of this bigger plan. It seems like an organic movement. If you go back in time and understand this, it's very pre-planned out. And it's just like a computer program using the same thing. This worked in 1913, it'll work in 2013. Okay? This worked in 2025, it worked in 1925. It's the same kind of thing. And the people just do not see it at all. Now, somewhere in here, I don't remember if it was closer to World War II or World War One, but at some point, the German government or something offered all of this land to Mexico if Mexico would fight the United States during World War One. Possibly it was World War. I'm thinking World War One, and they offered them parts of Texas, Arizona, Utah, California, Nevada, and if the Mexicans would attack America, that's what would happen. Now, history is repeating, and we're seeing that play out right now in real time, where all these Mexicans are shouting, this is the fucking Mexico, okay? You can't come here. Fuck Donald Trump, okay? Like, whatever, okay? And all this bullshit just goes over and over again, and people just don't see it because you've been so preoccupied by all this other shit. The price of eggs and the tariffs and Elon Musk and Trump are fighting. All this bullshit when you're not seeing the overreaching goals of this new world order apparatus in order to get full digital Skynet AI Palantir control of the people. So they orchestrate these chaotic events, and here we go. If we want to catch these people, we've got to have DNA recognition software, face recognition cameras, AI tracking software, and all this stuff, which then will be switched to locate anti-Semitism and people who are anti-Semitic and attacking our number one ally and our second number one ally, Ukraine, and all this stuff. It's the same shit over and over again. People just don't see it. On top of the fact they don't see it, they don't want to see it because they don't fucking care. And they'll send their kids to war to defend our number one ally like that. There's nothing we can do about it because this is what they like. They don't understand they're mind controlled and hypnotized by these evil, evil fucking satanic people. Okay. Trump and Elon had a fight, and they're fighting, and Donald Trump was in the Epstein list, and Elon Musk was hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, and it's all this bullshit. Okay. It's all the same bullshit. Get you distracted from Epstein to Weinstein to Diddy, back to Epstein, back to this, and you just go in this giant circle and you can't get out of it because you don't understand you're getting played. You're getting played by these people. Now, I covered this the other day on, I think it was the 8th. I did a video for Patreon only. So if you haven't seen it, you should check it out because it's really good. But understanding how this is playing out, we can call all this. They're going to start assassinating world leaders in Europe and different politicians and senators and stuff in the United States. They're going to blame anti Semitism. They're going to say these politicians were killed because they were supporting our allies and anti Semitism is at an all time high. We just saw this with these two people from this Israeli consulate or something. It's the same thing that's going to start accelerating because that worked in World War One to get World War One started, and they have to have three world wars in order to get their end game New World Order. And after the New World Order is fully installed, they have all their 5G towers tuned up. They have everything. They've been testing this. They know which parts of the population are going to go wild and fucking berserk. Most likely it's going to be the brown population, the brown and black people, because they're the lowest IQ people are the most susceptible to this radio frequency weapons. Who else are the lowest IQ people? The white Democrat liberal people who've got 20 years of college schooling and all this stuff. And these fucking people are retarded almost. They don't know anything. They couldn't explain anything. They don't know anything. They don't know what continent they're on. They don't know the difference between a country and a continent. They can't tell time on an analog clock. And you see these videos where they interview these people on the street. They don't know anything. And the most violent, dangerous people are those who are uneducated and they do not know anything about anything. And when these radio frequency weapons are tuned up, those are the people who commit violence. Blacks, browns, the right liberal Democrat people with their blue hair and Antifa and all this stuff. And then Israel comes out and says, if you're against Antifa, you're for anti Semitism because we gotta stop Adolf Hitler and the new Adolf Hitler, which is Trump trying to stop these Jews and blah, 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 blah. And Trump's totally Zionist. All his cabinet are fucking Zionists. They've already found that there's tons of FBI people instigating these riots paying cash $12,500 a week to be a soldier in the fight against Trump and all this shit. It's the same kind of offers they offer people in Ukraine. It's the same kind of funding that they got from Ukraine, $10 billion a year, and then it goes into another account, and then this is the money they're using. The same fighting for the USAID money, which is the money they use to fund these protests. And there's no way out other than educating yourself and going the opposite direction. When they start these riots and stuff, you need to be in your house protecting yourself. Because as you're down at the Walmart rioting, someone's going through your house and going to murder your fucking family. Okay. If you're on this volunteer list, you're a target. Okay, so the number one thing is you need to worry about yourself and not all this bullshit because this is all planned out. And this is one of the things, it goes back and forth. The QAnon fucking people will tell you, oh, the timestamp from 9 years ago is right on. And you don't know they're going to make all these arrests. And the military on the street is a cover for the arresting the politicians and blah, 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 blah. They just do not fucking quit. They continuously push these dates that come and go. Nothing ever happens. And then the next date comes up. Okay. All of these operations are going to be done by July 4th, and then July 9th, and then hot August night again, and then September 23rd, they're going to make the arrest, and then that comes and goes, and then we're in red October again, and then November. I mean, it's just the same shit repeating over and over, but nothing ever happens. And the debt increases, and the prices go up, and everything just gets more dystopian and worse and worse and worse. So what are we going to do about it? I mean, this is like I discussed this last week on my show. There's not much you can do at the individual level. We're almost in the zombie apocalypse type scenario where in 24 hours, all civilization could break down if they crank these 5G towers up to the max. And you better be fucking ready when this happens because it is going to be a shitstorm that no one has documented ever. Because they don't document the real events. They document the events they want you to know. The Civil War was about the Union and the black and all this shit. That's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's all about the old world hiding out the 1000 millennial reign of Christ. Satan has been released on the people, and now we see Satan's chosen people running the show. And we can't get out of it because people are too afraid to say something that might upset these people who killed our Savior. They killed our God and are the most evil fucking satanic people ever, starving out children and then murdering them and blowing up an apartment building with children trying to hide and blowing up a hospital and stuff. And every single Trump cabinet person and all these people will just tell you, hey, man, this is so great. Israel's doing this. And then you ask them, how much are you getting fucking paid by Israel? Well, they're making an extra $650,000 a year, plus stock options, plus all this stuff to be a Zionist bill for fucking these idiots. And all the Trump people are in on it. Bash Patel and Dan Bongino are covering for Israel, making sure this Epstein stuff doesn't get out because if the Epstein stuff came out, you found out it was a foreign government operating and blackmailing your celebrities and politicians. They're our number one ally. Don't you think this would cause anti-Semitism? Well, yeah, that's why we can't let it come out. We don't want to be mean. We're in this fucking Groundhog Day scenario where it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And now we're getting into chaos where these cartel people are going to use live rounds shooting at police and they're throwing rocks at police and they're throwing Molotov cocktails and shooting fireworks at them and stuff. So all it's going to take is one police officer or somebody shooting someone in retaliation, and then now you've got George Floyd riots. And they're already setting this up where every single liberal Democrat ran diversity hire city is going to be rioting. And Karen Bass in New York or in fucking Los Angeles is, we don't need these people on the streets. And it's just shut the fuck up, bitch. Let all of Los Angeles burn down. And the people in LA are so fucking stupid. They just, yeah, we want more Gavin Newsoms. We need another Karen Bass. We need more black, brown women of color and Latino kids for illegal fucking terrorists waving foreign flags, setting fire and looting our businesses and our cities, burning down our cities. And then where are they doing all this rioting and looting? Everywhere they want to put in their smart grid and smart cities. Throughout Democrat ran towns, cities, and states. They're going to have rioting, burn down all these cities, George Floyd 2.0, and now they're ready to consolidate. You're going to burn your house down, which before they set fire to your house in your town, they'll make sure to cancel all the insurance so you can't rebuild. It's a big part of this Jewish plan to cancel your fire insurance 2 months before they completely burn your city down. And the people just don't see it. They don't see it. They don't care. If you're the one telling them how bad things are, they're not listening to you. They're not going to help fund your operation and help give you the sponsorship you need. No, no, no. They're going to fund the Jewish culture of OnlyFans. And, you know, they don't have $10 to donate to you, but they can go buy an extra hamburger and spend $35 for one person to eat at McDonald's. This is where we're at, people. This is where we're at. And it's like, maybe it's good this happens. I don't know. It's bad though. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And they're gonna start riots in France, England, throughout Europe, Ireland, Scotland, everywhere. This is the New World Order takeover of destroying the white native population, replacing them with brown people, and no one ever does anything because who runs your country? World Economic Forum people, the Jew people. Who runs Mexico? This Jewish woman who's openly saying that they're willing to go to war with America over this. And people don't see it still. They think this is all just some random thing, but it is not. It is very carefully been planned out and programmed. Okay, moving on real quick. Stu Peters and his fucking Jew crypto coin has now been scamming people and stealing their money and siphoning funds off. Like, told you so. We fucking told everybody that this Stu Peters guy is Jewish. He is paid by Jewish gold companies, and now he started this Haktula coin against the Jews, and it's ran by all Jewish people. When he came out with that stupid fucking old world documentary, immediately I called this guy out. I've been calling these people out forever, and somehow their audience grows and mine stays right the fucking same. And I've been right about all this stuff for 20 fucking years. And it just whatever, dude. I don't know. I mean, this is why I went to Patreon. But I haven't gotten any subscribers on Patreon yet. It's just I'm gonna turn all this off because it's a waste of fucking time. Trying to wake up people who don't fucking care. One iota they don't care. If you hate Jews, you have to be a Nazi. Stu Peters is a Nazi guy. They're all Nazi guys and they love Hitler and Hitler was right, blah, 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 blah. And they will never look at any type of evidence proving that Hitler was fucking in on it. Napoleon Bonaparte was fucking in on it. George Washington and these people were fucking in on it. They're all Freemasons. They're all Zionists. They all serve their evil fucking satanic masters, and they're getting paid to be operatives for this new world order. And people just will not accept it. Now, I get we're ahead of our time. I've called all this out, and maybe people don't understand this until 5, 10 years down the road. But I made music about all this stuff, and I called all these people out, and I called out the lizard people and the reptilians and the Freemasons and all this stuff. And supposedly my music has hundreds of thousands of views. No, not one penny has been put into my bank account. I've made not $1 off of putting this information out for free for people to understand this and interpret this as I see it. Because this is how they have done this. They see it this way. And there's nothing you can do because the people are so trying to hold on to this invented civilization and this invented culture and all these black sports ball games, baseball, basketball, soccer and football and all. Let's watch these black people. The black people fucking hate you. Black people and these Mexicans fucking hate your guts because they are the ones who fall for this propaganda that the Jews serve them up. They know you're going to fall for it. They know the averages of IQs is down here, and you'll fall for fucking anything that the TV tells you. And they all have lived here for 30 years in America, and they still wave their Mexican flags, and they still have not assimilated to being American. They still speak Spanish, and you've been here for 30 years. You can't speak English yet? Are you even trying? No, they're not trying. We'll cater to them. We'll make sure we have a Spanish speaking interpreter for you so you can tell us how much you fucking hate American people and whites in Spanish because you can't speak English. I mean, this is getting bad, people, and it seems like, man, if you think it's bad now, wait until these Mexican rioters, it's a CIA operation in FBI, start going to the power plant and rioting and setting fires to the power plants. And then the grid goes down because they said if three hubs of grid go down, the entire grid goes down because they all rely on each other to collectively store electricity and then pass it out. But when that happens, it's going to go turbo deluxe very quickly. Okay, wanted to touch bases on these things. I was going to do my next documentary on Freemasonry, but reviewing the content in this book, The Great Awakening, you can get it on Lulu.com. The amount of information that connects World War One to what's happening today is just mind blowing. So I've done the video on what really happened in World War II. We've done videos on the National Zionists. I think I need to complete this kind of series by doing what really happened in World War One. From about it really goes back to about 850, the 1920s, and this period is what is the first major building block of the New World Order. What was installed after the Civil War ended. And this is where you get the corporatization of America, the Act of 1871, and you get all these other corporate entities popping up because just like everything else, we probably lost the Civil War. Every war they tell you we won, you really lost, and your freedoms go out the fucking window. And now you just herd it into a smaller circle every time. So I want to announce to people I do have a Patreon going. There's a ton of content on there. You can get the audio versions of these songs. I've put a lot of content that is not on Rumble onto the Patreon. So please go over and support me on Patreon. It will help. And not as much monetary, but it lets me know that people are fucking aware of this information and that they value information over entertainment. And I try to make these entertaining videos, but the amount of information that needs to be understood to avoid these catastrophic events coming is very wide scoping, wide ranging amount of information that you need to understand this stuff. Okay, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this week. I hope you all enjoyed this. Once again, please join me on Patreon. If you want to get a book, you can get it at lulu.com. The Great Awakening, Timeline of Historical Events, um, extended points of study. There's so much information in this book that I've collected. It's really like a must have to understand what is going on. And on top of all the videos and the free content I've gave people on Rumble, the Modern American Gangster clips, I've got more to come out. But there's just tons of information. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time.